We have seen enough of ML script, ML syntax, and all the components of ML, and we have written a complete piece of ML file. So now it's time to jump into Ansible. So here let's read through some information about Ansible. What is Ansible? Why we use Ansible? What are the benefits of Ansible? So Ansible is an IT automation tool. It can configure systems. One, the most important one and widely used purpose of Ansible is it can configure systems and it can deploy software and or it can orchestrate more advanced IT tasks such as continuous deployment or zero downtime rolling updates. Fantastic features is it is very much useful in continuous uh, deployments and zero downtime rolling updates. And second, Ansible's main goals are simplicity. That's the main benefit why it got the simplicity, because of its AML script. And second one is it's made up of Python language, though we don't use Python directly, but still because of Python, so there are a lot of modules are there for Ansible. So it's simplicity and ease of use. So it also has a strong focus on security and reliability, so featuring a minimum of moving parts, uses of open SSH for transport with other transports and full modes as alternatives, and a language that is designed around audibility, the language that's around designed around auditability by humans, even those not familiar with the program. So even the humans which are not familiar with the program, they also can actually read through it very easily, very efficiently with ease. So then the third one, Ansible uh, manages machines. Ansible manages machines in an agent-less manner. So that's the benefit. That's the huge benefit for us, because you don't need to install software in all machines. It's reducing your manpower. It's reducing your work hours. So there is never a question of how to upgrade remote daemons or the problem of not being able to manage systems because daemons are uninstalled. Also, security exposure is greatly reduced because Ansible uses OpenSSH. OpenSSH is a secure shell. It's secure shell. So the security exposure is greatly reduced because of this OpenSSH. The open source connectivity tool for a remote login with the SSH, that is secure shell protocol. So Ansible decentralized it relies on your existing OS credentials to control access to remote machines, and if needed, Ansible can easily connect with Kerberos, LDAP, and other centralized authentication management systems. So Ansible releases a new major release approximately twice a year. So the core application evolves somewhat conservatively, so valuing simplicity in language design and setup. Contributors develop and change modules and plugins hosted in collections since version 2.10 much more quickly. I will show you the collections and everything. I will take a quick walk through the uh, Ansible documentation. In that, I'll show you the collections also. Anyway, we are going to use AWS collection. AWS collections and then AWS collection modules in our exercise also. That's our last exercise. So then we will look into Ansible connection, how it connects with another machine. So how it connects with another mission. There is no agent and then master concept. There is no server and agent concept here. It's completely different. It's a control machine. Okay, so now the question arises, now how does Ansible connect to its target? So now target being, so there are any kind of target. So either a target, it could be a Linux server, it could be a Windows server, or it could be a cloud account, or it could be a database, or it could be a network equipment such as switch and router. It could be anything, but that's the target. But how does it connect with that? How does our Ansible connect with our targets? That we are going to see. So this is our Ansible control machine. We don't call it as master or server or this kind of things. We call it as a control machine because it controls other machines, but there it is, the other machines are not agents. They are not agents. So here is our control machine. So in this machine, I have installed Ansible and I have configured this machine with Ansible. Okay. So now the first thing is, so for Windows, let's begin with Windows. For Windows, it uses WinRM. So WinRM, again, there will be a WinRM service already there. So you just need to enable a remote connection. So in Windows, in Windows PowerShell, you have to enable the remote connection so you can connect to Windows through WinRM connection from remotely. So this is how Ansible control machine connects with a Windows machine through WinRM and then Windows PowerShell. The settings should be changed to the remote connection or remote connection, WinRM connection remotely. So then we will look into we'll then we'll look for the connection with the Linux, and we'll see how Ansible machine connects with the Linux. For Linux, it is absolutely using SSH. For Linux, as I said, it's going to use SSH. So every Linux server will have SSH, and as the server, so this is going to connect with the Linux or Ubuntu or CentOS or Red Hat Enterprise Limited, whatever it may be. Everything will have a SSH connection. So that is going to, this Ansible machine is going to connect with this Linux, all Linux machines through SSH. So then we have a cloud. So for cloud, it's as simple as that. As you see on the screen through API, for cloud like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, uh, and then Tencent, and so there are plenty of clouds, and Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, IBM, or any other cloud, it uses API. And for database, it's going to use its own Python libraries. For database, it's going to use its own Python library. Whereas apart from all these things, apart from cloud computing, Windows, Linux database, it can also manage network devices like a switch and a router. So that for that also it uses Python modules. And and in for example, if you take the database, it uses Python libraries to get to connect with that. But for example, let's take one example. If it is a MySQL database server, in that case, it's gonna use MySQL library. So using that MySQL library, it's going to connect with any kind of database. If it is Postgre, so if it is MongoDB, if it is GraphQL, whatever it may be, it's going to connect. It's going to connect to the database through that database specific library, that database specific Python library. So my point here is, you don't need to set up You don't need to set up an agent on the destination or in the server itself. It's completely different when you compare with the chef and then puppet. There it's a server and agent kind of architecture. So there you always require a server. In that you're going to install chef and puppet or chef or puppet, and then you will have your agents in that machines. You are going to install agent kind of software in that. So there you'll have that server agent kind of architecture. So here you don't need to set up an agent on the destination or in the server itself. So well, by the way, there is no server in the Ansible, as I'm repeating this like a broken tape recorder for past five minutes. It's control machine. It's control machine. So Ansible is called as control machine. In general, you don't call it Ansible server because it does not run any service. Like Puppet server, it runs a service. So that's why it's a Puppet server. Whereas Chef, it's a Chef server because it runs a service for salt master. For salt stack, it's salt master, salt server because it runs the service. It's fundamentally it runs the service. That's the reason we call them. But whereas here we don't call it as Ansible server, we call it as Ansible control machine. So, but Ansible does not run any service. It just uses the Python modules, Python scripts to connect it to the target machines, dump the Python script there, they are executed, return the output. That's it.